to have an outsider come in and not part of your agency, doesn't necessarily know who's necessary, who's not, to really be coming in and being like, well, what did you do? And then, I don't know, something about that just disrespectful as a question.
No, it is disrespectful. It's very impersonal. It's everything.
Like, fam, I showed up. You know what I mean?
Perfect.
Everybody's talking about, bro, Elon, the takeover of the government. He got people walking out with boxes in their hands.
DOGE team.
It's really disrespectful, man, if you really think about it, because it's they said about, this is according to Fox Business, estimate about 100,000 federal workers have already been laid off or accepted the deferred buyout offered by the Trump administration. Approximately 75,000 workers who agreed to the deferred buyout are supposed to be paid through September. So right now their impact on the labor market will be delayed, but eventually it will have an impact on the labor market. And about 25,000 federal workers have been laid off or put on administrative leave, with a layoff likely to follow.
Crazy.
Yeah, no, I think what this article was leaning towards what they said, but like that many people just coming into the workforce that is not necessarily in a need for that many workers is going to get a little weird with certain things. I'm also nervous because it's Elon Musk doing it as opposed to maybe Donald Trump. We know it's his initiative, but it feels like Elon Musk would be the person that everyone's pointing their fingers at. I feel like other billionaires, if they were looking for ways to cut costs in their companies and they were like going to lean away from layoffs because of public perception, well, now they're like, yo, you hear about layoffs every day. Why don't I lay off some people in my company to do that? Whereas opposed, I don't know if they would have necessarily done it as, you know, everybody, it's like a copycat. Everybody trends a certain way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now that we're watching on the news and half of people have compassion or they've been directly affected by it. Another half are kind of like a little bit like callous to it. It didn't help that Elon and Trump said they might be giving back $5,000 checks within the next 2 years of the money saved from DOGE. So anyone that might have been on the fence is like, yo, give me that bread. You know, especially if it doesn't directly affect them. But you do see how it affects people.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and when it comes to layoffs, I mean, just from a pure business perspective, I mean, layoffs are good for your bottom line. We're just talking business. We're not talking about the effect that it may have on the employees and stuff like that. So, you know, it's one of those things where depending on how it all pans out, you know, if they're successful, you know, it'll show you don't need as much, I guess, I don't want to say people in the workforce because we need people to work, but
trim the fat.
Trim the fat, yeah. Big time.
And I've worked for companies where they've just had people with positions that were kind of just for show. Like, you know, they didn't really do any work. Or it was multiple positions that could have been done by
one person.
People. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But and also, I don't know if you have this, but I kind of always had that stereotype of government employees to not necessarily be like, I don't want to say they're not doing anything, but it's not the hardest job. It's a job that a lot of people do because of the benefits, but it doesn't seem like, it seems kind of cushy.
It can be, depending on the role.
What you're doing, yeah. And I'm assuming the higher up that you get, the better the benefits, the more cushy it gets. But I did know that to be a stereotype, and I don't know if that's what Elon Musk is kind of feeding off of in terms of his callousness to like just lay off these people. He's like, you're not doing anything anyway, or...
I mean, that's how he handles his own businesses too, so...
Yeah.
I mean, he don't really have no sympathy for that piece, like, you know, okay, how it affects people once they get laid off. He's just looking at the bottom line.
A CEO isn't really necessarily going to do that, you know what I'm saying? Because why? Why would they? You know what I mean? What are they necessarily gaining by doing that? It's like that compassion is, you don't become a billionaire by being that compassionate.
Yeah,
you know what
true.
I'm saying? But like, to send people out the emails, you saw the email where it said, basically tell us what you have accomplished within the last week. And then the second email going out is basically tell us 5 things you've accomplished in the last week moving forward. And for him to say, well, this is something that we did just to see if people had a pulse, just to see if it wasn't just numbers getting a paycheck, is wild. Because even if like your own supervisor were to send you that email, I'd be like, what the fuck are you? Like, what do you mean? Like, so to have an outsider come in and not part of your agency, doesn't necessarily know who's necessary, who's not, to really be coming in and being like, well, what did you do? And then, I don't know, something about that just disrespectful as a question.
No, it is. It's disrespectful. It's very impersonal. It's everything.
Like, fam, I showed up. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, we're at a place with, like, the economy where we have to look at, what could be done, right? Because we're in a deficit. And I think that's where the disconnect happens. I think Elon Musk is making a good point. Like, we can't keep going on in the same path. It's not necessarily his point, but it's like we're in a deficit as a country. If there can be ways to do things that can save money, let's go about it. But it's really weird kind of messaging when the same guy doing it is making memes or reposting memes on his social media platform that are callous to the people that are getting laid, or kind of like, I don't care. Or when employees step down from DOGE this week, he responds with, well, they're basically Democrat layovers. And it's like, what does their political party have to do with them wanting to do their job? But that's where I think it gets shaky.
Right.
And you have an administration that really doesn't care how the perception is. They're going to move like that. I've seen protests at Tesla.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What are they protesting at Tesla about?
They're protesting Elon Musk is they're protesting DOGE. They go into his business to do it. So they're going to like different Tesla dealerships, which I don't think is going to make any difference. But just to get the media attention, I guess, to let him know. But he doesn't care.
Right.
It's not what he's thinking about. I don't know necessarily what Elon's motivation is in this. It's not money. I don't believe it is, and it's got to be power, right? It's got to be.
I don't know. He's a weird guy.
1,000%.
So,
smart guy.
It's very smart.
Smart guy, but super weird. You know how I knew something was funny though? Like, so Donald Trump stops aid to South Africa. Says that it's because white farmers are having their land taken away as a response to, the hundreds and hundreds of years of apartheid that have occurred there. Kind of like a reparation, so to speak. I don't even think the white farmers there are that mad. I'm sure there's some, but it's not like a huge voice of people outcrying. But why would Trump care about that? That's where Elon's from.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that to me is power. That's what Elon wants. That type of influence, like the things that I have an interest in are going to get taken care of.
Well, yeah, because they're only going to be in office for 4 years. Mm-hmm. So, he's obviously
only working for DOGE for 2, I believe, right? They said that as a non-government employee.
Yeah, that's for 2 years. Yeah. So, within that 2 years, you want to set things up to benefit you and your people
and your businesses
once you come out. So that's all this is really about.
Yeah, and if he's using DOGE for that purpose, as well as to stop people who would regulate his businesses or to take out people that were going to do contracts with his competition, obviously this is something that needs to be looked into and taken care of. It's just, but who's going to look into it? Like all the Congress people that were loud before, I haven't been hearing nothing from them. It's been real quiet. Anytime Democrats come out, it seems unserious. It really don't. It's no, I don't know.
Our whole political system is just a joke
up right now. It makes as much sense as like this video. Did you see the one where Donald Trump is making the press conference with Elon Musk and his son is in there?
Yep.
Democracy. Prices from one year to the next are the same, and they're partnership with the agency heads and.
He can't even act like he didn't hear him because he like kind of leans in every time he talks.
I'll be signing a very important deal today. It's DOGE, and I'm going to ask Elon to tell you a little bit about it.
Prices from one year to the next are the same, and the force that's complained the loudest and the fastest as part of the presidency is to restore democracy. Democracy.
Yo, you ever had a little kid just messing with you like that and you can't do nothing about it?
You want to kick that?
Yo, he's going hard. Tell him to shut his mouth. It makes as much sense as that, bro. Like the fact that we got his kid in there acting the damn fool, talking to Trump. Like I said, I'm not one of those people who are just blanketly upset at DOGE. Possibly could work out in our benefit.
I'm not upset again. Like I said, 2 weeks ago, this is what the people voted for. Yeah. So hey, whatever.
There's a way to go about it too. That's not callous.
Maybe, but. This is what it is. This is what it is. Again, we should have known this. So
you signed up for it, people.
It's hard to be mad when you knew what you was doing.
What it do, y'all? It's your man DJ Playboy. Just interrupting real quick, man. I really appreciate you watching this episode of the Perfect Talk Podcast. But if you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. You got to run them numbers up so I can keep running it up. Also, if you're listening to the audio version on the podcast, make sure you leave a review. Let them know how much you love the podcast and, subscribe to the thing. And if you really, really want to support the team, go to www.perfecttalkpodcast.com. Get yourself a t-shirt, get yourself a sticker. You could even get yourself a mug, man. The possibilities are endless and the prices are low. Holla at us, baby. Let's get it.